be this sort of state-of-the-art thing where you touch something and something occurs from a great distance. iPod, iPhone, the touchpad of a computer or so on. I'm just asking this as a question. Is that our electric bell? Should we be teaching that? Go ahead, roll your eyes. I don't care. Yeah, they're not going to become computer repair people, probably. Waldorf kids never do things that are that lucrative anyway. But is that where we need to go? Is the not that the electric bell is not incredible, and my class could have spent a year working with cups and strings and turning them into a very effective long-distance telephone system and so on. To do that, but perhaps not to stop there anymore. To also perhaps recognize Ahriman's throwing all kinds of bags of tricks at children today. He's enchanting them. He's drawing them in his kind of little inward spiral quality, not out to the big silver movie screen where they sit in a dream dulled state like this, but rather into little devices, computer screens, iPods, Game Boys, and so on, where in a certain way the entire consciousness spirals in and gets sucked in there. And this is Ahriman's force. Lucifer sort of blows you up like a balloon. Ahriman deflates you. He sucks everything out of you and makes you a kind of wraith, you know, a kind of hollow man, as T.S. Eliot described it. So do we need to accompany the children on that path, to, in a way, go into that little miniature world with them and let them see what's there? Teach them about individuals like Blaise Pascal and Charles Babbage, who laid down the mathematical basis for computing. Work with the binary system, which allows them to understand how the switching on and off can seemingly replicate so many complex relationships, and so on and so forth. Teach them about how an LED screen functions, how a plasma screen works. Now, I'm not saying every teacher should do all of this, but that could this be opened up to children? Do we need to recognize in the 21st century the curriculum, or at least the upper end of it, may be in need of some serious work, because we are otherwise going to be teaching children a technological basis which cannot fully explain the very phenomena that's all around them. And I think Steiner's concern was always that life not be a black box, that I can look back at history, the stream of the time coming from the past, and I know what went on there. I have a feeling for what informs me, my past lives and the past lives of humanity at large, the destiny of the world. But now, Ahriman is future-directed. He's always pulling us ahead. He wants to incarnate things that don't belong in our time. So in a way, he gives us clairvoyance. Clairaudience, I should say, the telephone. He gives us clairvoyance, the television, the computer. He gives us a false sense of brotherhood and speaks about global economy as though this is really something that's good for everybody and uniting them. In a way, he's bringing things that will be realities later on, unless people get so content with this that they stop developing. So we can recognize in this that Steiner created the Waldorf curriculum to be a path of initiation. A path of initiation that works with Lucifer for the first half and then goes on to increasingly meet Ahriman. But what's wonderful about this initiation path is if the teacher is working on Steiner's developmental path as he or she is teaching, it's a two-edged sword. The child is going through a junior initiation experience in a way. The teacher can be going on a modern initiation experience. Steiner has stressed that initiation should no longer take place in mystery temples. It should no longer require absenting ourselves from life, leaving the necessities of everyday existence. Rather, it is in those very necessities, in everyday life itself, that initiation experiences will be vouchsafed to us. And there we could say that's the gift of Ahriman. Because Ahriman, not meaning to, is bringing tremendous spiritual impulses into the world, but materializing them. Anyone who can go past the material and think along in the way it was created is going to be performing spiritual activity. Now, it's significant that Steiner said, going into the spiritual world, meeting spiritual beings, flying on the wings of an angel and so on, and seeing the world from his point of view, that was hard enough to set that up. But much harder was coming back to earth and putting it in words, putting it into the here and now, with language that increasingly is also under the domain of Ahriman. Putting spirit in such a way that we could find it in everyday life. That level of spiritual activity, according to Steiner in How to Know the Higher Worlds, that's there. That's open for anybody on the earth. How much more so for those who try to go into daughter movements where Steiner tried to renew or even create anew the professions, such as teaching. So with the children, we in a way can meet Lucifer in the first 5, 6 grades, make our peace with him, get what we need from him to go forward, and then find the courage to meet Ahriman, to see the importance, the centrality of the sciences, mathematics, for young people in our time. To also bring to them the humanities, not just again as a continuation of the early grades, but rather as something new and significant that really allows them to go forward. I would imagine, well, let's go back and think how one might see this. It's 1922, and a Waldorf teacher is having a parent evening and says to the parents, "It's come to my attention, dear parents, that there are children in this class who have incandescent light bulbs in their rooms. Are you aware of what this does to a child's eye, to their relationship to light? Please remove these from the room. This could be the grounds for asking your child to leave the school." Okay? Could have been said. 1932. It's come to my attention that there are radios in some of your households, that music sort of is transmitted through the room without there being actual visible, physical players of instruments and singers. I'd ask that all these radios be removed, and so on and so forth. Now, what Waldorf teacher talks about electric light bulbs or radios anymore? We have so much worse stuff to deal with, like televisions and Facebook and things like that. I can promise you, in 20 years, we will look back at television and MySpace as the golden age, because there are going to be things so much more nefarious, so much more hidden. What you hear talked about a lot in high-tech circles today is, why bother with the computer? We can miniaturize the chip and implant it in the human brain. And then the brain becomes a super effective computer. While you're asleep, that computer is working to solve